Today, we discuss the further adventures of Tyler Rake, this time out on Drew Reviews. Guys, looking back on 2023, it's been a really disappointing year. There just hasn't been a whole lot of movies that have jumped out and grabbed my attention. Granted, there's a couple I have left to see. I'm really looking forward to the Iron Claw at the end of the year and this Zack Snyder movie that's coming out here in December. But one that I really loved and one that did not let me down was Extraction 2. I've not done a review of the original Extraction yet, but that will be coming at some point this year. This movie to me, man, is just a step up in every direction. As far as that first movie was really good, and usually the sequel it takes it bigger and bolder, but as in the case of so many sequels, not necessarily better. To me, this is a rare exception. So basically, the plot of this movie, at the end of the first Extraction movie, Tyler Rake fell off that bridge. We didn't know if he died or not. You're assuming he didn't, but he washes up. His crew finds him. He spends like 9 months in this hospital, comatose, and he ends up having to rehab his way back. They find him this cabin so he can retire. And it's at this point during the movie, I'm like, hey man, it's a cabin in the mountains right next to a river. Just retire. You look at me, I've spent years working on this house, making it look like a cabin with this Amish rough cut. And so I would have been happy right there where he was. But of course, we wouldn't have had a movie if that were the case. So basically what happens is Idris Elba's character comes up, and I love the conversation they have as Rick drives up and Elba's sitting there drinking his tea on his porch, talking about how he doesn't even look like he's in shape to shoot a gun, and then he shoots the teacup right out of his hand. I thought that was great. But he ends up taking the mission, which is to get this family out of this Georgian prison. There's this group in the Republic of Georgia called the Nagazi. They're the crime syndicate that run things. And one of the brothers, one of these two Nagazi brothers, is in the prison, and the governor of that country has put his family in there, so he has somebody with him, and the wife wants out. It just so happens to turn out that the wife is Rake's ex-sister-in-law. His wife, played by Olga Kurylenko, comes in later on in the movie. We'll talk about that just a little bit later. But Rake comes in and saves them in this epic shot, this I believe it's a 21 or maybe 23-minute shot, a single take, all the way through this prison. They're escaping. He's fighting guys off. There's a prison riot. At one point, this Molotov cocktail gets thrown. His arm's on fire, and he's punching people with his fist on fire. It's a great scene from start to finish. And I don't know if it was actually all one take, but man, it looks like it's one take. And just the timing and everything involved with that. That scene was just amazing. To me, it's the centerpiece of the movie. There's some other great stuff there too, but I really loved and appreciated that scene. They escape, they get on a train, they end up in Vienna, and their fallback is, this huge skyscraper in Vienna, and he's going to get them out. But that gets foiled by the son. The son, Sandro, in this movie, oh my gosh, he is so maddening, as teenage kids usually are. He calls his uncle, the Nagazi leader, and it tells him where they're at. And so they come at him. At that point, they had evaded them, and the movie would have been over. But they come in with a helicopter, blow up this skyscraper. There's some great action there. Eventually, they kind of get away. So it comes down to the uncle and Tyler, one-on-one in this church. And that's basically the plot and a lot of the key moments, what happens in Extraction 2. As always, Chris Hemsworth in this role is great. I'm not really a superhero movie fan, so I really haven't seen him much in like the Thor stuff, but I really like him in this. If you've not seen the Extraction movies, you should probably stop this and go watch them and then come back here. But they're kind of like, John Wick, but tactical. It's so much fun and so well done. I like the character of Nick. She's given so much more to do. I love how they expanded on that character, and her brother, of course, who kind of meets his grisly demise in this movie. There's a great part about this designer shirt that he gives Tyler for his retirement, and he puts it on his dog. I thought that was really good. But I really like Nick, and of course they touched on it a little bit in the first movie, how there was some feelings there, but you really feel it in this movie that she really cares for Tyler. You know, she didn't give up on him while he was in that coma, and just some really good stuff there. I like the family for the most part that he goes in and rescues. Like I said, the son is awful and easily the worst part of this movie. Not the actor, just the character and how the character was written. But the story sort of needed that MacGuffin to keep going. I liked his ex-sister-in-law, Olga Kurylenko, Mia in the movie, his ex-wife. I thought the scenes he had with her were just great. You know, in the first movie, it's hinted at that his son had this cancer and died, and he wasn't there for them. He'd went off to go to war and basically ran. And so they split, and so they actually have a face-to-face there with some really good acting from Hemsworth, some tears in his eyes. And then at the end of the movie, they have another really good scene there where he's in prison on the prison phone talking to her. I thought that was a really good scene, and I thought it added some much-needed humanity to the Tyler Rake character, you know, who's just this stoic, you know, butt kicker most of the time. And speaking of butt kicking, the action scenes in this movie, you know, that prison riot and everything in there notwithstanding, there's some great stuff where they're on a train trying to escape. 3 helicopters blow up in this movie, man. And I guess you could say that's a negative because they're CGI'd, because how are you going to practically blow up a helicopter? 3 of them in a movie. But the visuals in this movie are just great. You know, popping up out of that train car with a heavy machine gun, shooting down that helicopter. Just some great stuff. And then that last fight that he has in that cathedral with Sandro's uncle, it's just great. They're fighting hand to hand, and it gets really nasty. You know, they're going through all this construction, taking down boards. They're using actual construction elements against each other. You know, whether they're screwdrivers or hammers or what have you. Just a really good fight. And I love the end of the movie where they're both laying there bleeding out, looking up at the ceiling of this cathedral. And the bad guy, I believe his name is Rob or something like that, he tells him, I'll never stop coming for you. And Tyler's laying up, bleeding out, and just boom, shoots him in the head and kills him. I thought that was great. And a little bit of comedy was needed there toward the end of the movie. There's some great action scenes there where they're in that big high rise and the bad guys come in. You know, where they're there in the gym, and Tyler Rake ends up dropping those weights and crushing that guy's head. Or he bounces the one guy's head after he shoots him into a treadmill, and the guy goes flying. That was really funny. The scene where he saves Nick sliding down, you know, that elevated glass partition, that was really cool too. I'm trying to find things about this movie that I can just kind of nitpick and critique. If there's one thing, and I'm not, you know, a tactical guy, so I don't know how Kevlar, you know, how much protection you get, but it seems like people are getting shot point blank at close range, like right in the chest, and it's not even registering. They just keep on fighting. And maybe your adrenaline would do that, but it kind of took me out of the movie. It's like, come on, guys, you're human. You have to register pain at some point. But other than that, and just the horrible, angsty teenage son, I hated that character. I really love this movie. And like I said, I still got a couple movies left to watch, but it's been my favorite movie this year of 2023. So that ranking might come out here at the beginning of next year. We'll see where that goes. As a whole, I'm going to rank this an 8.1. On IMDb, it's a 7, which is just criminally low. And you guys are stupid who voted that down. This is a great movie. If you haven't seen these guys, you have to go over to Netflix and watch them. They're both Netflix movies, but don't let that deter you from watching them. They're great action and some of the best movies I've seen this decade. So guys, let me know down in the comments what you think of the Extraction movies as a whole and what you think of Extraction 2. Where does it rank in your top movies of 2023? Like I said, I absolutely love it. And I love that they set up at the end of this movie, you know, now Tyler's really, now he's in with Elba's character for getting him out of that prison. And who knows where this franchise might go with Extraction 3 when it comes out, you know, in a year or two. So we'll see. Guys, if you like what you see, be sure to like and subscribe. And as always, I'm Andrew, and I'll see you down the line.